Cardano, the successor of Bitcoin. That is going to be the topic and the talking point of today's video. Now, you guys will know that we do cover the price of Cardano. We've given a price prediction and we've been following it to date thus far, and things are playing out in the manner that we have technically expected them to do so. But in this video, I don't want to talk necessarily about the price. I just wanted to mention it there very quickly. If you want to go and check those videos out, please do go through my video history and you will find plenty of them. I think we did one this week, in fact, updating you in regards to where Cardano's at in relation to where we're expecting it to go. Very positive on that front. But what I want to do in this video is actually talk about Cardano as a project, as a cryptocurrency, and what it's trying to do. And I was actually on a recent space with David Gockstein. I'll go over to it as we speak. You can see this was the recent Twitter space, and it was titled Charles Hoskinson Talking Cardano AI and Aliens Meme Season BOB. And actually there was a section of this nearly 6-hour-long talk that I want to play for you guys because there is a very well-known kind of Bitcoin maximalist out there called Mike Alfred, who has been a massive critic of Cardano, self-admittedly, just trolling, really. And he actually asked a question to Charles Hoskinson, or basically implied that he thinks Charles Hoskinson is one of the smartest people in the entire crypto space, and is he too smart for his own good? And is he and his ideas, because of the complexity of them, not going to become a reality? And why Cardano over Bitcoin? And actually Charles's response is one that I absolutely thought was worth making an entire video about. So I'm not actually going to be doing much speaking in this video. I'm going to be playing you the clip. It's about 6 to 7 minutes long. Guys, it's an absolutely great one. We're going to start off with Mike Alfred basically talking about his views on Charles Hoskinson and that he was only kind of trolling Cardano, and he thinks Charles is one of the smartest people in the entire crypto space. I happen to agree. It's why I've sort of stuck with Cardano and Charles throughout my entire crypto career, simply because I honestly believe Charles is one of the smartest people in the crypto space. And on top of that, his vision is one that is not just to get rich, but is to change the lives of millions and billions of people. And he sees Cardano as the apparatus to do that. And I have always said myself that I think Cardano is the evolution of Bitcoin. Bitcoin brought with it certain capabilities and was originally built on certain principles and foundations. Cardano took those principles and foundations and added an entire level of capabilities to them with smart contracts, but embodied and maintained the ethos that Bitcoin was originally born out of, this libertarian movement. And actually, that is why I am such a fan of Cardano. It's why we continue to talk about it. It's why I continue to hold it, even though I'm perhaps a little bit more bullish from a return on investment point of view on other cryptocurrencies, because I truly do think that blockchain can be used as an apparatus for change. If we look at what's happened with Bitcoin, Bitcoin was and is important. You know, the people that control the money, you're going to hear about Charles talking about Ron Paul. The people who control the money basically control everything. And this is what all the great libertarian economists have spoken about over the ages, whether it's Ludwig von Mises, whether it's Frederick Hayek, whether it's Milton Friedman, whoever it may be. They've all kind of brought this up as a real issue. And actually, funnily enough, they've all kind of mentioned the day when we would have, and what the rise of the internet and the digital age would do, and how actually there was the potential for a combatant against these, a global combatant against these kind of central fiat systems. And Cardano, Bitcoin was originally founded on those philosophies. Now it's really all just about making money at the sacrifice of that. I don't think the vast majority of people that are into Bitcoin really view it as a tool for freedom, more a how to make money scheme. And of course, Bitcoin is really, due to its nature, doing very well against a failing fiat system. But Cardano is very much built with the ethos that Bitcoin was originally born out of, but with more capabilities. It's why it embodies EUTXO and all these other things. What I want to do, guys, is not ramble on. I did say I wasn't going to talk too much in this video. I've already probably done more than enough. I want to go ahead and play you guys the recording, or a part of this nearly 6-hour-long recording of Charles answering Mike Alfred, and what he says is truly genius and totally summarizes why I'm on board with Cardano and why I think you guys should be also. Let's dive into that clip.
I've listened to you probably more than you realize. I've been in spaces before in the past, and the people moderating your spaces weren't able to get me up as a speaker for various reasons. But obviously, like, I've been a critic of Cardano in the past. Some of that was candidly like for engagement purposes. It was quite fun. But I listen to you, Charles, and I hear probably one of the smartest people in the entire crypto ecosystem. Like I learn a lot every time I hear you speak. I just wonder if intellectually you're like too smart to build something that actually like makes money for people, like real individual retail people over the long run. Like it just feels like you're so smart that you've thought of every single angle, but you've forgotten that like sometimes simplicity is the thing that actually makes these systems work in the long run. Like all the criticisms you have of Bitcoin might very well be valid, but it appears to be working. Number does go up. Like not changing the protocol does work. Having sound money really is valuable all over the world. And so I wonder to what extent like too many features, too much intellectualizing of everything has actually slowed down Cardano and made it less competitive in the long run. Again, I've actually changed my tune quite a bit, but I still worry that you're so smart that you might convince people that owning Cardano is better than owning Bitcoin. And I'm not a maxi. I 100% agree with everything you said about Max Kaiser and about a lot of these other things, but I still worry that like I would not put my mom's money in Cardano. I would put it in Bitcoin. Like I wouldn't put my grandmother's money right in Cardano. I'd put it in Bitcoin
Right.
because I'm worried that you're too smart for your own good. Like how do you answer that criticism?
Well, Mike, I guess it just depends on the goalposts. I joined the cryptocurrency space on the back of the Ron Paul movement. And at the time I entered Bitcoin, Bitcoin wasn't worth anything. So nobody cared about the price because there was no price. It's like StarCraft tournaments, like fifth prize was 25 Bitcoin and first prize was $100. And people were angry to be in fifth place. So there were different goalposts back then, and a lot of us were super philosophically motivated. The Ron Paul movement, it was all about sound money, humble foreign policy, and the preservation and protection of liberty. And we realized the single most important of those three things was the money, because he who controls money decides the other two. And so the whole concept of Bitcoin was to be a protest and counterbalance, at least in the early days, to the excesses of the 2008 banking crisis. And then what ended up happening is, because it's a deflationary asset and it got a lot of speculation, Bitcoin became hyper valuable. And the problem is that ended any desire to continue evolving the social side of the movement. Because at the end of the day, you have to make a hard decision if you're an engineer or you're a member of that community. We got this golden goose and it's getting more valuable over time. At all, we might actually hurt the value or growth or slow down the adoption. So why don't we just kind of let it ride? And that's perfectly legitimate, but the problem is it's useless then as an ecosystem if your goal is to run a national election system on it and actually have integrity in your ballot. It's useless as a system if your goal is to run the entire banking industry on it, and then suddenly you have decentralized banks and exchanges and these types of things. It's useless if you want to talk about creating algorithmic stable coins that are backed by many different assets and you actually have a synthetic pan-African currency or something like that, no central bank. It's useless if you want self-sovereign identity and you want to actually own your own identity and not have Google know everything about you and have programmable privacy and these types of things. So I don't actually end up caring very much about Bitcoin because I just view it like any other asset. And I say it's a great asset from a certain dimension. It's digital gold. And, frankly speaking, it's got a lot of value there. But the problem is that it does nothing for me for my social goals. So, Cardano, you can say what you will, but the initial distribution was 70 million in Japan, and now it's a $27 billion ecosystem with millions of people in just a relatively short period of time, about 7 years. Anything that goes from less than 100 million to 27 plus $billion and has all these people floating around, and it's written 204 research paper, millions of lines of code, and it keeps getting stronger. And every time people say we're going to die, we come back. I mean, you mentioned the $3 collapse down to 25 cents. Well, we got it back to 75. And before it was at $3, it was 2.5 cents and sat there for a long time. So yeah, the price goes up and down, but I don't really watch it or care too much about it. It's a weighing mechanism. What I look more is on-chain utility. If you go to extendedutxo.org, eutxo.org, you can see real time every block is full, and there's lots of interesting, unique things happening. That was not the case 5 years ago. So that's what really matters to me. And they're filled not with just meme coin transactions or speculation, but they're filled with people trying to build DAOs and identity systems and interesting DeFi applications and stable coins and all kinds of interesting things. So that's what I care about. Like right here, right now in our ecosystem, we're talking deeply about what is an idealized government. And we're learning how to build voting systems and write constitutions. We have a constitutional convention we're just about to do, where we're literally going to have workshops in 50 plus countries across the world. Each workshop's going to elect a delegate. They're all going to converge to Argentina. And just like the US Constitutional Convention was held in the 18th century, they're going to vote and ratify a constitution, and then it'll be voted on chain. So suddenly, people in Ghana and people in Senegal and people in Vietnam and people in Jordan, which by the way is not a democracy or a republic, people in Europe, people in America are empowered to learn how a constitution works and think about that and actually go and participate in the process and vote on that. I think that's a lot more than whatever the market cap reflects. And I think it also liberates people and says, if I can do this here, why can't I do that in my own country? Why can't I do that there at home? I'm just so tired of Trump versus Biden. I'm just so tired of the wars. I'm just so tired of this presumption and cynicism that the whole world is going to be worse tomorrow than it is today. And I'm so tired of just everybody telling me it's shit. I'd like to have some agency back. You talk about the sophistication of the Cardano people, as some people have mentioned this. It's not a sophistication. I think it's a realization that we actually have every right to have a say in how the world works, whether it be our voting system or our money system or what have you. We have every right. And that's what Bitcoin was about in the early days. That's what attracted me to it. That's why the cypherpunk movement existed in the early days. They said, you know what? Information deserves to be free. And Bitcoin said, so did money deserve to be free. And the minute when it stopped being about that and it started just being number go up, and that's the only thing they cared about, they drove all those people who believed in that into the altcoin space. And we were totally fine being there because we never viewed Bitcoin as an adversarial thing. And then all of a sudden, Team Orange came around and it said, we're all evil, should be shut down. We're all securities. Orange Team is the only thing that matters. And we're all shitcoins. We're like, we're the guys who are carrying the flame that you lit. We're the guys actually doing the work, trying to figure out how to actually make these systems useful to run an economy on and to liberate people and get people out of this whole thing. And by the way, if we succeed, that makes Bitcoin go to $1 million because that'll probably be the reserve currency of this new economy that we've constructed. It's the gold in the Bretton Woods Agreement. You can't have physical gold. You'll have to have digital gold. So doesn't that make Bitcoin more valuable? No, because they don't understand what the philosophy is. And to be fair to the altcoin space and Bitcoin space, and there's been a lot of scams. Absolutely. And I've been there. I've been in the room to see these types of things. And it makes me cynical in a certain respect. Like when Luna was going through, people forget my first cryptocurrency I worked on with BitShares. It was an algorithmic stablecoin index in 2013 before Ethereum. And it didn't work. We tried really hard and we thought about it. We ran all these models. And the first thing we learned is you can't really do an algorithmic stablecoin unless you're over collateralized. If you're partially collateralized, forget about it. You're going to have a bank run. Every single simulation ran in that direction. So that's how it's Three Arrows Capital at a party in Dubai shortly before Luna collapsed. I said, guys, I don't really get Luna. I don't get it because isn't it like a bank run going to happen when you guys have a high degree of volatility? Say, oh, we'll never have that kind of volatility. Don't worry about it. We have a strong backstop. Like, this is crypto. Mike, as you pointed out, shit collapses. Yes. ADA went down a lot. Well, so did Luna and Solana and all these other things. Like the whole market collapsed 70%. That's what we're used to in crypto. So you can't build a stable coin that if you have a 20, 30% perturbation in a week, that you have a bank run and it collapses. And it did. And then, Mr. Novogratz runs around as Luna Tattoo. And, the 10 smartest people I know say Cardano is going to fail. Our people ran into him at a party in the Hamptons. And they asked him about Luna. He said, don't you feel bad about Luna? Oh, no, I made a lot of money on that still. That's the mentality.
Just wow. And I'm sure there's nobody out there that isn't on board with that vision, the ideals of Cardano, or Charles Hoskinson's ideals for Cardano, and what it's trying to do. I certainly am. Again, it's why we have continued to actually put Cardano forwards. I did amazing on it in the last bear market and, of course, the bull market. And I still think it offers a great opportunity from an investment point of view. But I actually think that we're seeing in Cardano, the evolution of Bitcoin and what it was trying to do. And actually, I think if it succeeds, it stands a good chance of changing millions, if not billions of lives. We wanted to we do talk about the price. We make no shame about it. At the end of the day, I think the vast majority of people in the crypto space are here to speculate on the price. That being said, we've always and continue to recognize the shift and the change that distributed ledgers are bringing to the world. And I think Cardano is absolutely an embodiment of that. Guys, that's all I've got for you in this video. If you've enjoyed the content, like is appreciated. So as a comment, don't forget to subscribe. If you want to help me out and help support the Cardano blockchain in regards to decentralizing it, do consider staking with the ALLIN pool. We've been staking, we've been providing a stake pool and helping to run the Cardano blockchain for nearly 4 years now, and we're going to continue to do so. All I've got for you in this video, guys. If you've enjoyed the content, like is appreciated as a comment, and I'll see you all in the next one.